Hey. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This right here is Urban Politics, where politics lives, and I'm your humble host, Fizz and Music. Want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Like I said, it warms the cockles of my heart when you do that. Run on over there as quick as your little legs will take you. And please subscribe to Urban Politics, where politics lives. But without further ado, I'm going to get right into it like a car and drive because there's all types of tasty and delicious politics to sink our teeth into. I want to start, though, with some local politics, right? Because all politics is local. So let's talk about some local stuff going down. DeWine signs the firearm legislation to make guns legal for all. Basically, that's what he did. Now, this legislation's been hanging around for a minute. Came across his desk. He signed it. Why? Because he's in bed with the NRA. I can't say it any other way, ladies and gentlemen. They write big checks, and I'm sure Mr. DeWine has gotten a big check from them. Now, you can Google and find out how much he's gotten from the NRA. I don't know. I don't have an actual number to put on it, right? But I bet you his rating from the NRA is A+. So for you to get an A+ rating from the NRA, that means that you've done absolutely zero gun legislation. And that's what this man has done. And it isn't like we haven't had our issues with guns here in this state, but obviously he cares about the issues in his bank account when it comes to dealing with the NRA, right? So now he signed this legislation. You don't need a permit. You don't need any training to get a gun. So any guy or gal with hands who's over 21 can run up to Vance's or any of these other places and get a gun, and I think they've even shortened the time that you even have to wait for getting a gun. Now there's people who sit on the right or people who are just gun supporters who say this is a good thing, we should all have access to firearms. If there are people who need that protection, now they don't have to wait so long to get that protection they may need. Well, my thing is, why do they need this protection? And shouldn't they be seeking protection from law enforcement and not getting a gun and trying to do some vigilante type stuff and handle it on their own? But whatever, that's what they're saying. As far as this bill, law enforcement hates it. I feel them, because you don't have to even disclose if you have a gun. So what's that going to look like? A cop is going to pull somebody over in the dead of night, might be midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, on a dark country road, pull them over. Maybe they roll down the window. Hopefully when they roll down the window, they don't already have their unit pointed at the cop, because they don't have to disclose that they even had it. And the cop doesn't know now because everybody can have a gun so easily. So they get there and whatever. And, maybe the cop says something the person doesn't like. Maybe they decide to upheat. And there it is. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to disclose that they got a gun. They might have it right there on the seat. Very accessible. So that puts what? The officer's life in danger. So you have plenty of officers who are like, hey, this is not a good idea. But DeWine signed it anyway, even though the right is supposed to love police officers, right? They're always talking about back to blue. We support cops. Not for real. They support money, okay? And the NRA's got a whole bunch of it. So if that means that they got to turn coat on their law enforcement buddies to get some money, they're going to do that. The NRA is loving this bill. Why? Because that's the NRA's thing. They want to make guns legal all the time, everywhere, for anybody. Man, if the NRA had their way, your 12 or 13-year-old son or daughter would be carrying a gun. Why? Because it'd be more money that they could make off of guns. All they care about, ladies and gentlemen, is money, 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 money. They don't care about school shootings. Okay? They don't care about the gun violence in Chicago. They don't care about accidental shootings from babies and toddlers and homes and stuff. You know what I'm saying? People who have guns in their home. They don't care anything about any of that. All they care about is money, 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 and they're getting paid. They're making money hand over foot. So as long as you have congressmen and women who are so greedy that they're willing to take all this money from the NRA, you will never see any movement on gun legislation, okay? That's just what it is. I'm going on record as saying on this show and in songs I've written and stuff and talked about that, what I say, comprehensive gun reform, bipartisan legislation, the only thing that can help a dying nation that's killing itself. And it is, man, because, it's like the gun is the king and there's nobody equal. There's more guns in America than there are people. You better get ready to run, son, because everybody's living under the gun. Check out my page, songs on there. But that's real, man. That's what's going on in this country. And I wrote that song a long time ago, but it's still relevant and prevalent, and that definitely saddens me to be able to say that. But it hasn't went anywhere, and now it's really coming to a head in my state because, like I said, now we got 21-year-old men, able to get a chopper the size of them and walk around with that. and that's just not safe for any of us. Anyway, moving on, I want to talk about some more local politics. Let's talk about the Ohio State Senate race. Heating up, right? I talked about it before because all the men who are running for the Republican nomination are all trumpeters and pretty much pieces of human garbage. I'm just, I can't think of another way to say it. All of these guys are all up under Lord King Trump. They're basically sellouts to their constituents. They're all vying for his endorsement. They're all up his, butt. So it is what it is. So like I said, anybody who votes Republican in Ohio, you know what I'm saying, you're going to lose because you're going to pick from the likes of Josh Mandel and people who are just as bad as him. So what do you do with that? Now on the Democratic side, there's a young lady by the name of Morgan Harper. She impressed me. I saw a debate that she had against Josh Mandel. She ate his lunch. Ate the man's lunch. Now, first of all, let's talk about Josh Mandel. I've talked about him on here, but if you don't know, you can remember he was, I want to say Secretary of the Treasury in Ohio. If I'm messing that up, please give me some pushback and correct your boy, but I'm pretty sure that that was his job. And he was corrupt as all get out. He is definitely a trumpeter, and he comes from the Trump school of politics. Here's a rich, entitled douche who who got power, and what did he do as soon as he got the power? Crony politics, crony capitalism. Started hiring all his friends and made sure to lace all their pockets with cash. And they didn't know anything about the jobs they were supposed to be doing or anything like that. They just got the jobs because they were friends of his. And like I said, he's a rich, entitled douche who got the job and feels like he don't owe his constituents nothing, right? So we already know that when given power, this guy will use and abuse it to the hilt. So if you didn't know, so there's that about Mr. Mandel. Here's some other things about him. He's racist. He's homophobic. He's transphobic. He's anti-gay. He's a war vet. He likes to go on and on and on how he went over to Iraq. I need to do the knowledge to that. I need to do a little research on that because he might be like who this other guy been talking about. He a vet and he ain't a vet. Nah, I think Mandel's actually a vet. But I would bet that he wasn't ish in the army like he's not ish out here with civilians. So that is what it is. He's leading in the Republican polls, of course. Of course he's leading. Because like I said, he has a very Trumpy-esque way of going about these things. He hates everybody. There you were talking about how when he had this debate with Miss Morgan Harper, who's the Democratic nominee, she's trying to get the Democratic nomination, for this. They were at a black church in Cleveland, and he called her an angry black woman 5 times. See what I'm saying? So here's a guy who doesn't mind digging in that racist bag that the GOP loves to pull from to throw some tropes at this sister. Now, it's funny, he kept coming at her with the angry black woman. Oh, why are you so angry? You need to calm down. Now, somebody needs to tell him how politics goes. Not only put on my political hat, and I'm going to talk like a politician and not necessarily like a black person. Politically, that trope will not necessarily work with this sister. Why? She's not dark-skinned. This is a fair-skinned sister. And in the black community, we call them red bones. This is a red bone sister, right? So you calling her an angry black woman is not going to necessarily work because I didn't know she was a black woman until she said that she was a woman of color. And she did it very artistically. She did it very politically poignantly. This woman, that's why I said she's poised, she's ready for prime time, she's smart, she's intelligent. Because when he threw that at her, she came back at him and said, yeah, it's funny how when a woman of color or a person of color has a different view than the GOP, now they're crazy, now they're angry, now they're upset. See, she turned, and then the crowd started laughing. See what I'm saying? She turned it on its head because she's smarter than him, which isn't saying much because he's not a smart man. But my point is, she's smarter than him. She's more well-spoken than him. At the end of the debate, he comes over, puts his hand on her shoulder, and then he offers a handshake. And I like how she just looked at his hand and basically was like, hey, man, get about my face. I'm not on that. And she better than me. Because had I been her, I'd have been like, number one, Mr. Mandel, take your hand off my shoulder. I did not invite your touch to my body. And number two, I'm not shaking your hand because you're a dork and a douche and you can get out my face. So, excuse my language. But that dude is a political scumbag, and it needs to be put on blast. And I love, like I said, she went in there, ate his lunch. He was also using that trope too because the angry woman, people, especially women in politics, they always want to paint them with a hysterical brush, right? She's a woman. Of course, she's hysterical. Of course, her thoughts are all over the place. Of course, she can't control her emotions. She's a woman. She's a crazy woman. So, see, he was doing some of that too. I don't like that. And like I said, once again, not going to work with this sister because she was poised, she was well spoken, and she spit it right back at him. She ate the guy's lunch. I loved it. She ate his lunch. And that's what's up. So, if Mr. Mendel think he's going to just walk into this Senate seat, he is sadly mistaken because this sister is giving him a run for his money. And I love it, love it, love it. Remember the name, Morgan Harper. I'm going to get some information on her and I'm going to support her myself because this is what we need around here. This is what we need around here. I mean, this guy in the debate, Josh Mandel, going to bring up how, I was in Maricopa County in Arizona looking how they were doing the recount, blah, blah. And she said, who in Ohio asked you to do that? And got a laugh out the crowd because that's what's up, bro. All politics is local. Who cares that you went to Arizona about some old made up recount they got because the orange guy got you running around telling everybody that the election was stolen when no, he just lost because he's unpopular. See what I'm saying? And you running around dealing with that when we here and right now this debate is in Cleveland, Ohio. What are you doing for Cleveland, Ohio? What are you doing for Ohio? I don't want to hear about Maricopa County, Arizona. I want to hear about Ohio. And he couldn't give her nothing on that because Josh Mandel is a political hack. And let's pray that he loses that seat. So, or not loses it, but loses that race, right? So she's dynamic. She's great. Once again, support Morgan Harper. Remember the name. All right, moving on. Let's talk about BLM and how they've made some big moves that conservatives are mad about. Upset about. What are they upset about? I guess it's three main sisters in BLM. They're part of the LGBTQIA community. And they bought a mansion for $6 million. Okay, now number one, so what? So what? Plenty of organizations do that. When you're an organization and you take in all this money from donations, you can do whatever you want to do with that money. You can buy a house. You might buy a couple of cars that maybe you're going to donate or have people be able to get a ride to work or whatever. Do anything that you think that money can go to where it's helping somebody, you can use it for that. And organizations do it all the time. All the time. This is nothing new. This is nothing crazy, right? They were saying that BLM, Black Lives Matter, took in $90 million. I applaud that. That's a good thing. Now, number one, check this out. I'm not necessarily a BLM supporter all like that. Am I going to walk around with a Black Lives Matter t-shirt on? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Am I going to have a Black Lives Matter sign in my front yard? Probably not. Not because I don't believe and know that Black Lives Matter, only because I feel like an idiot having to say it. You know, I feel like it should be a no-brainer or something that's just commonplace, like air is breathable, water is wet. You know what I'm saying? Water is drinkable. These are things that no one has to say, but you already know they're a thing, right? Or that they're true. So that's my point. You know, Black Lives Matter, I shouldn't have to say that. That should be a given. But the fact that it's not a given, I applaud these sisters for saying it. Okay? The fact that people do get offended by it, black and white and other, get offended at the mere notion of Black Lives Mattering, keep saying it. Keep saying it. Yell it from the hilltops. Because as long as people are offended, then that means there's a need for it. So that's cool that they're doing that, right? They took in this $90 million. So what? The home, it looks like it's owned by the LLC. So it's not in anyone's name. They put it in the Black Lives Matter business or some other business. That's just smart. That is just smart. Putting that mansion in the business's name means that, one, I want to say that home is a tax write-off. Two, they can use that home for like whatever. You know, if there's some black people who's, have family members that die, you know what I'm saying, by no fault of their own, by, actions from the police or whatever, victims of gun violence, maybe they can stay in this home for a little while someone's having a funeral or whatever's going on, So that's not a bad thing. I'm not mad at that either. What I really think is people are upset about. Now, when I did see this story, I'd read it in some local news, but then I'd also seen a story in Fox News that a person, actually a lady named Pamela, thank you, Pamela, hey, how you doing? Huge fan of the show. She watches the show every week. She sent me this, and it was Fox News. They're amazing at finding these self-hating Negroes. That's what I call them. These black folk who really don't like black folk, who really don't like themselves, to critique other black folk trying to do things. So I had this brother on there, and he talking about Black Lives Matter hasn't done anything for black people, and where did they get this $90 million, and now they're spending $6 million of it on a mansion, and blah, 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 blah. Brother, you sound like a buffoon. You sound like an idiot. You sound like a prop that Fox News went out and get. They always love to get people who look like me, you know what I'm saying, in a nice tie and a nice suit to get up there and kick some old conservative BS. Cut it out. These sisters ain't doing anything that anybody else hasn't done with their organization, okay? They took in $90 million. I think Fox News is mad because 85% of the Black Lives Matter protesters were white. Let me say that again. 85% of the Black Lives Matter protesters were white people. Meaning that what? Most of this $90 million came from what? White people. I think that's what Fox is mad about, okay? That's what they're mad about. Whether they say it or not, that's exactly what's going on here. They are mad about that. Why? I'm going to tell you. Conservatives, the ones that I talk to anyway, a lot of them, when they see me coming and I espouse the beliefs and views that I have, I can almost feel like they're rolling their eyes. Because they feel like, oh, well, you're a dark-skinned black male, so you would feel like that. Well, duh, I would feel like I feel, right? Because I am wrapped in this skin. But they really take umbrage with people who look like them and maybe even share their background, but they're saying things that I'm saying. See what I'm saying? So a lot of them get upset when it's a person who's just as white as they are, comes from all the privilege that they come from, but can still understand the plight of people of color and still understand how this country needs to do better. And a lot of times that enrages them. They get upset at that. So that's where all this is coming from. This scrutinizing they want to do with these sisters. And once again, I go on record as saying, I'm not necessarily the biggest supporter of this movement. I mean, I am a supporter of this movement because Black Lives Matter. I am black. I am living a black life. So it definitely matters, right? But like I said, this $90 million, ain't none of that come from me, right? But I definitely support it because I'm black, duh. And there's nothing wrong with it at all. You know, these ladies are also members of the LGBTQIA community, and I think they also come under fire for that too. But I also think a lot of these donations also come from that too, and ain't nothing wrong with that. It's a good thing. So Fox News, once again, hating the way Fox News hates. A lot of people were saying to me anyway, like, Ed, why would you put any stock in anything coming out of Fox? I really don't. But listen, I try to listen to all of these outlets. You got to soak it all in. I think Lil Wayne said it best. You're observing it, I'm absorbing it. So when it comes to all of this news and all this information, you're observing it, I'm absorbing it. I want to soak it in. I want to check it all out. I want to see Fox News. I want to watch Bloomberg. I want to watch ONN. I want to watch MSNBC. I want to watch the Fox News local affiliate. I want to watch all of that news and get all those opinions, soak it all in, and then I come up with my own points and views, and I spit them to you here on Urban Politics, right? Moving on. So, last thing I'm going to talk about is something that's still in the news. It should be. It's historic. Cory Booker had to go on and on about the historicness of this moment. Ketanji Brown Jackson getting confirmed as a Supreme Court justice, the first black lady Supreme Court justice ever. It's a long time coming. I'm not going to lie. I kind of got sick of watching the love fest between Clyburn and Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe. And here's the only thing. It is a huge moment, right? It is a huge moment. We have a black woman who is now a Supreme Court justice, but I don't want us to miss the fact that this is sad that it's taken this long, right? It's sad that we've had white men on the Supreme Court. We've had white women on the Supreme Court. We've had black men on the Supreme Court, but never a black woman. That's egregious. That's pathetic. And if anything, yeah, we really need to speak to that more than the fact that we're so happy that's a historic event. That's cool and that's big, but we need to speak to the fact that why did it take so long? Kind of how I felt about Barack Obama, right? People were so excited to be able to vote for a black president and so excited that there was a young brother poised to be the next president of these United States. But ask yourself, why did it take this long? And what's going on in this country? What's the problem with America that it took you 220 years of presidents before you elected a black one? What's wrong with this country that we've had all these Supreme Court justices, finally one sister? And then the one sister who gets in there, my goodness, she gets confirmed of a vote to 43 to 47. I mean, 53 to 47. 53 to 47. Seriously? So there were 47 people who didn't agree with it, who didn't think that she should get the job. Are you serious? When they said this is one of the most qualified people we've ever had on the Supreme Court. You still have 47 people who were against it. Now, there were 3 Republicans who broke with their party and they voted in favor of her. Mitt Romney was one of them. Applaud him. I applaud Mitt Romney. Now, look, I go on record as saying once again, me and that man don't agree on anything politically, pretty much. When he was running against Barack Obama, I knew he wasn't going to win because he was boring and he's a waffler. But besides being a boring waffler, I think he's a good man. And Mitt Romney, every now and then, he does things that make me say, I think he's a good man. And right here, I think he's a good man. Now, he's also the billion-dollar man. Mitt Romney got a lot of money. A lot of money. If you don't know the history on Mr. Romney, you can go ahead and Google him and Google Bain Capital, and that man makes $57,000 a day. A day. You heard me. Yeah, there's drug dealers who ain't making no $57,000 a day. Mitt Romney makes $57,000 a day. So I say that only to say that it's easy for a man who's made of money to break ranks with anybody, because at the end of the day, Mitt Romney gonna be all right, right? So he was one of the Republicans, though, who did vote in favor of this lady, because it was the right thing to do. He broke with the party. Here are some of the scumbags who voted against her, right? Mitch McConnell, Roy Blunt, Lindsey Graham, John Cornyn, Tom Cotton, Josh Hawley, Marsha Blackburn, and Mike Lee. Now, the only thing you need to know about all of these gentlemen and one lady is that they're all human pieces of garbage. And really, this is where your true racism lies. This is what I tell people all the time. This is real racism. Real racism is not a cross being burned in your lawn. It's not someone yelling the N-word at you while you cut them off on the freeway overpass or something like that. That ain't racism. This is real racism. Because these people sat up there and they gave her all these accolades. Oh, this woman, she was a delightful person. I enjoyed the exchange we had. She's a smart person. She's so qualified. She's this, she's that, she's this, she's that. But at this time, I can't give her my support. I can't, endorse her nomination for the Supreme Court. And why is that? Yeah, why is that? And it ain't nothing but the color of her skin. Now, they're not going to say that. But when you sit there and you drown a person in all these accolades, you know what I'm saying? And then you still deny them the position. That's real racism. That's institutional racism. Racism is somebody holding you back from an opportunity because they can do right, because they can do as such, right? Now, in this case, they weren't able to because Democrats have a slim majority. It's a slim majority, but it's still a majority, right? And Mitch McConnell already said he wasn't going to play any game. Not Mitch McConnell, excuse me. Joe Manchin already said he wasn't going to play any games with this or whatever. And he was going to go ahead and let this go through. That's what's up. So there's that. You know what I'm saying? It was a done deal. But even with it being a done deal, these buffoons still had to come out, praise her, lavish her with praise, drown her in praise, talk about how qualified she is and what a good person she is and all of that, but still at the end of the day, not give her the opportunity and not support her taking the position. And that's real racism. That's what people do. They invite you in. I've been there. And of course, not on this level at all. I'm talking about something way lower level and a way lower level job. But, they bring you in. They talk to you on the phone. And, of course, on the phone, my name is Eddie Edwards. So sometimes when your name is Eddie Edwards and you talk like this because you're on the phone trying to be professional, yes, I'll be there at 9 o'clock, and I thank you so much for the opportunity. They might think that I don't look like this. Then I get there and I don't look like the English skier Eddie Edwards. I look like the black guy Eddie Edwards who does a political show. See what I'm saying? And things change, right? But that's real racism. And these are people who say things like, oh, you speak so well. Oh, you're so well spoken. Oh, you're such a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? We met your lady. We met your kids. Oh, you had a great family. Such a nice guy. So clean. He dresses so nice. But at this time, we can't support him for this opportunity. For whatever reason, he's just not what we're looking for at this time. Yeah, right. And that's what these people do to you, and that's real racism. And that's how these people get down. So all of that was just all for naught. Mitch McConnell, you know what I call him, but this is a family show, so I'm not going to say it. McConnell, that dork, he going to sit up there and say all this stuff about how qualified she was and what a great woman she was and all that, but still at the end of the day, he can't support her. So, pathetic. pathetic. And these people, man, they really lifted their skirts and let their racism show. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. The GOP, they can't help themselves. And these days, that's what gets steam in their party, right? That's why I said Mr. Mendel, he ain't gonna stop with the games, because that stuff is politically expedient in that party, man. You know, Trump has really changed the face of politics, but he's really changed the face of politics in the GOP. And it's crazy because Mitch McConnell, he understands and he recognizes that Trump is a cancer that needs to be cut out of the party, but he can't cut it out. And I don't think anybody can. And it's hard for you all to cut it out when you all are addicted to likes. They're addicted to clout. And Trump gets them that. You know what I'm saying? So how do they break ties with a buffoon when the buffoon has all the numbers and we want the numbers? So GOP got to do some soul searching. But with that said, the TI is what a TI is. I'm your humble host, Phys Ed Music. This right here is Urban Politics, where politics lives. As soon as you have a chance, please go like and subscribe. And as always, see you around like a donut.